dumb idiot. Looks like you got yourself a saucy hand.
Yeah, I do.
Try yourself a Picasso boneless wing. Maybe next.
Well,
Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Yeah. Mills Mafia. Don Brown. Yeah. It's the Mafia, you know I'm rocking with the Bills. It's the Mafia, you know I'm rocking with the Bills. It's the Mafia, I'm with the Buffalo Bills. It's the Mafia, you know I'm rocking with the Bills. Hey, who you reppin', what's your team? Who you reppin', what's your team? You know I'm reppin' for my team. I got that talent on my team. Micah High, Jordan Poyer, can you catch it? Can you? Trade day is like a mask, do not catch it.
folks, welcome into a brand new episode of the Crowdus' podcast, Bills vs. Texans pregame show. It's a Sunday morning here in gloomy Long Island. I haven't even stepped outside today, but I imagine it's gloomy. But even though it's rainy in Buffalo, not a gloomy day in Orchard Park. Got some Bills action. Got what might not be a great game to talk about, but it will be entertaining nonetheless. Wake here with Kevin Masseri. And I'm not going to say, you know what? Okay, I'll say a former intern Cullen time. He actually had an article out earlier this week talking about some of the big takeaways that we can have from the first 3 weeks of the season. Colin, after, the Bills are now 2-1, what are some things that were in that article? Don't give everything away so that people have a reason to go actually check the article out on their own.
Yeah, so just three quick things. Number one, Matt Milano, he's been playing like an absolute stud, playing on an all-pro level, and, excited to see what he does against not a good Texans offense today. And then another thing I had in there was the rise of Greg Rousseau and how he really came to play and how he was labeled a project. And now he's already making an impact on this team and making a name for himself already. And today, I don't know if you guys saw, the inactives are out. Boogie Basham is not on that list. So we will get to see Boogie Basham and Greg Rousseau go to work together today. So curious to see how that's going to go. Then on the offense, it's raining out today, so we might not see a ton of it. But Emmanuel Sanders, he seemed a little bit off in the preseason game, the first 2 weeks. Him and Josh Allen couldn't get that connection. And then last week he had that breakout game. And I think going forward, he's going to be a pretty good asset on this offense.
Yeah, for Emmanuel Sanders, my friend who I was sitting next to at the first game, he's always, had not a good taste in his mouth for Emmanuel Sanders. He's just always is, not liked him for one reason or another. And in the last couple of weeks, he's given us more reasons to be excited about him being in the Bills offense. It just takes a little bit sometimes. New receivers on new NFL teams. I know when you're talking about them for fantasy purposes, maybe don't draft them so early because they might take a while to blossom, take a while to become acclimated into the offense. That's just what we're seeing with Emmanuel Sanders. And he broke out, as we saw last week, against the Washington football team. But now an AFC opponent, the Houston Texans. Kevin, we talked with Matt Weston, great guy from Battle Red Blog. I'm sure we'll be tweeting at him a ton today. And he, more than maybe most Bills fans, is looking forward to seeing what Josh Allen does today. I mean, on the other side of the ball for the Texans, if we talk keys to the game, there aren't a whole lot of keys to attacking this Texans defense, except for maybe staying away from their safeties.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a very strong defense to begin with, and took a depth hit as well. Like, I'm not going to say they lost any premier primetime players, but they did lose depth. And to me, in the NFL, you're looking at depth, and that's what can really hurt you from a defensive standpoint. You're missing some of your better players in Ross Blacklock. I mean, you're missing, Jordan Jenkins, a guy that came over from the Jets. You're missing Zach Cunningham. He hasn't had a great year, but it's probably still one of their better defensive players. Can figure it out at any time. Won't be able to do that here today. So, it's a pretty weak defense, especially in the back seven. I mean, you have Jordan Reed and then a bunch of nothing, little bit of talent up front. I mean, it's probably a good day to be missing John Feliciano, who may or may not even be better than like Butker at this stage anyways. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of winnable matchups there from the Bills offensive perspective. I don't know if they have enough talent, full strength to get it done. I certainly don't think they do with probably 3 or 4 depth hits that they just took here going into today. Really, they don't have any injuries at all short term. I always say this, but it's important. They don't have anyone that can come in for some of these guys. So, their defense is in rocky shape. Their offense can't move the ball, in my opinion. They do have some interesting running backs, if that's what you want to say. But their running game
might be the right word. Yeah.
Yeah. The running game's horrible. Teams of, people that play fantasy out there have probably tried to go to Mark Ingram if you were in desperate need, because he did show that he could be the guy there. And Bills fans don't really like Mark Ingram after what he did in that New Orleans game with Alvin Kamara. And still, even with the Ravens, he's always been pretty good. So, there's some hope there for him that at some point he turns it around. I don't think they have anything left in Rex Burkhead or Phillip Lindsay. And David Johnson, I mean, that was just a cap dump, really, to trade away D-Hop. So there's not a lot to like there from the offensive perspective. Brandin Cooks is going to be shadowed by Trey White all day. They're really only weapon at all on that team.
Yeah.
And Chris Conley, you're going to have a matchup with Levi Wallace, which is fine. I'm not going to care too much about that. And then Anthony Miller and Andre Roberts really are their only 2 remaining receivers. So it might be a good day to see what you have in someone like Cam Lewis, where, it's highly contested what they're planning to do here in the slot today. I personally don't think you should be playing Siran Neal. I don't think he's very good. He does have his cult following. So I'm interested to see what happens here out of the defensive back, just out of pure, like, who's starting at safety and who's starting in nickel corner. It is a little bit interesting.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. The safety conversation is really interesting because obviously, Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde have been, the best safety top 3 to say the very least probably in the NFL since they got to Buffalo. And they have been the model of consistency. This is, I think I saw the 3rd regular season or postseason game where we will not have either one of them since 2017. So they're both just durable as hell, and they've been fantastic. But seeing Jaquan Johnson or DeMar Hamlin, maybe a mix of both, depending on maybe if they want to get a bit of a rotation there, get a glimpse into the secondary of the future is something that Bills fans might be able to see today, especially with Taron Johnson out, Cam Lewis in there. Taron Johnson, I believe this is a contract year for him, so we could be getting a glimpse at who could be starting should the Bills not re-sign Taron at the end of this year. But going back to the Houston Texans offensive side of the ball, I mean, yeah, it literally comes down to stopping Brandin Cooks. And that's about it. I mean, Matt, when we had him on the cap on Wednesday, was saying that Pharaoh Brown might be the most underrated player actually on the team ahead of Brandin Cooks. He had a very good first week against Jacksonville. I feel like if Tyrod was still, manning that offense, maybe Pharaoh Brown could actually be a legitimate, like, tight end threat because, Tyrod uses the tight ends quite a bit, the tight ends and the running backs. But with Davis Mills, I'm not particularly worried. I mean, it's weird. I'm going through this lineup and I was trying to find something fun to be like, okay, where are we going to need to stop them? Where are they going to present a problem to us? I just can't find a thing. Like, I feel like when the Bills were 17.5-point underdogs to the Vikings, there were at least, okay, Josh Allen's an unknown. Well, Davis Mills is an unknown, but, not the kind that you're worried about. Cullen, is there anything that maybe you think we could be missing? Something on the Texan side of the ball that you think could give us more trouble than we're expecting?
That's an interesting question because they have, I mean, like Kevin just said, I'm looking at their depth chart on ESPN. They have 4 receivers that are going to be active in Brandin Cooks, Anthony Miller, Chris Conley, and Andre Roberts. None of that really scares me. I guess if you want to take it like 5 steps ahead and something that's out there is maybe an Andre Roberts revenge game in the return game. Special teams haven't been that great for us this year, so we could hopefully not see Andre Roberts go off, but it's going to be a rainy day. Not sure how they're going to open up the playbook for Davis Mills like the Texans said they were going to do, but I mean, the Bills haven't really faced, aside from Najee Harris in the first week, and he couldn't get going, like a solid running game. Gibson had that one long run. And Kevin said Ingram has the potential. He's been pretty good. He's been a solid running back in this league. And he's if we're worried about anything, it could be for him to get going. But other than that, with the defensive line playing like it has been, I'm not that worried about that. And like you said, Davis Mills, is he even better than Davis Webb? Like, come on now.
Yeah, Mills Mafia meets Bills Mafia is not going to be nearly as exciting of a storyline as some people might have hoped it'd be. You're reaching as far as Davis Mills' neck to say that this might be an exciting football game. But there are other games in the NFL, so maybe I'll let this. I got to keep letting this game ruminate because Kevin. Before we move on to around the NFL, talking about the other action, how it affects the Bills, and how we're going to pick those games. Is there anything we're missing here? Like, are we really overlooking this? I feel like I'm almost being lazy, but I'm putting in the effort. I really, really am.
Yeah, I mean. They're paid to play, right? I mean, pretty much.
Yeah,
that's the truth. They do have a salary cap. They do make a salary. It's like, like anything. They do have NFL players. It is rainy. It takes one awful punt block to kind of change the dynamics of the game and really be up 10, be up 14. Bills are just kind of putzing around, punt block. Maybe one bad defensive play. You're missing some DBs against Cooks. Maybe the Bills don't feel like they need to shadow him all game. And they're just like, yeah, we'll let Trey just do whatever he needs to do on his side of the field. I mean, there's like an off chance in the world that it could be close. Like, it's the NFL. Like, I think there's some world that this game is under, in single digits. That's absolutely the case. The weather brings it in. I mean, if it wasn't for the weather, that's one last thing. I mean, the weather knocks you up from down. I mean, it neutralizes it a little bit. I mean, at least a little bit. So there are reasons to say that, yeah, I mean, Houston could absolutely come out, maybe establish a little bit on the ground, maybe throw just enough in this rain. The DBs losing their footing should really be advantage on offense on that, because DBs don't know what receivers are going to be doing. So there could be a little bit of advantage there, a little bit of help on short passes for Davis Mills. But no, I mean, I don't really have a world where this game is in single digits, but I mean, conceivably possible.
Sure.
There are game plans out there that they have the ball a lot. We turn it over a time or two with the weather. Bad special teams play, which could rear its head in. Missed field goal.
Don't say that. Yeah.
And the next thing you know, it is a 7-point game. So I think conceivably that's there for the taking. I mean, it is what they're hoping for. It's like literally their game plan, probably keep it within 7 or 8. But if Allen's on, they can overcome 3 fumbles, in my opinion. It just depends if the fumbles exist, Allen's bothered by the weather, and some special teams blunders. That's what could make the game close. But really, as we've analyzed this game, they're missing defensive players. This isn't the defense that could do it. Washington couldn't do it, and their defense is better. They've struggled all year. Miami couldn't do it, and their defense is better. They've pretty much struggled all year. Pittsburgh was able to do it, let's be honest. But they're really talented.
That loss looks rough. Yeah, that's about it.
It's really a bad loss, guys. I mean, it's not losing to KC in a Patrick Mahomes game where he just goes off and it is what it is.
Yeah,
it's a bad loss. They lost on a pump block. They lost on just a horrible Levi Wallace half of football, horrible Levi Wallace half of football. And then really, I can't really point to like very many specific plays outside of the offense kind of being jittery. So it is what it is. Defense is ahead of offense. Pittsburgh was a team I wanted to catch in like week 12, like we do every year, because by the time that they're out of it and struggling and they suck, Ben Roethlisberger's dead. But week 1's not a good matchup there. I wanted like the Jets every year on week 1. That's the team I would have loved to play week 1. So no, to answer your question before we go around the NFL, there isn't a conceivable way, but it is the NFL. It just takes a special teams blunder, a missed field goal, and then one turnover. And then, you're talking single digits at that point for sure.
Yeah, single digits it could live there for a while. I still think that this game is going to cover. You can see all the picks that Kevin and I make, and everybody at Trimmick Sports over on tallysite.com. But you can see our picks for around the NFL. We're going to go around the NFL now. We're going to start with an AFC game. That is, I tweeted yesterday, and Kevin was not thrilled with me. So Titans Jets. I think there is a small chance, and I wish there was more value on the Titans or more value on the Jets, but I think there's a small chance that the Jets can come out with this win. No Julio, no AJ Brown. I'm not going to pick them to do that. They're also only plus like 230 to win it. That's not enough for me to actually consider putting money on them. If it was around plus 3, plus 4, I would absolutely do it. But they're only 6-point underdogs here. I think the Titans do win. Derrick Henry's probably going to get 30 carries for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, one of his high school stat lines. But, it's not going to be a fun one. It's one of the few episodes or one of the few games that I have to watch during the 1 o'clock hour here on Long Island I'm not happy about it one bit.
I mean, there's not enough money. There's not enough money to win there. If you're solely picking this, I think the Titans get it done. Unfortunately, I think it just is what it is. Even with no receivers, I think they still have a leg up. They are missing some talented players. You never know. We're talking about it here on our game. I mean, it is the NFL. Things can happen. I just think the Jets are that bad. Rookie quarterback. You might start to see them play a little bit better in the second half of the year, like you did the Bills under Josh Allen. But I mean, I'm not a Titans fan. I don't pick them often. One of the only games I got wrong picking the Bills last year was the Titans game. I think they get it done today, but I don't think it's going to be by much. And I don't like the money line enough, or I don't like the point spread enough to go either way on it. I'm sorry. I don't like my return.
Colin, anything to say that hasn't been said?
Derrick Henry's going to have a day. I did end up taking in my parlay. I took Titans -6. I think they can win by a touchdown. I mean, if Henry goes off, he gets 3 touchdowns. That's already more than the Jets are going to get for the next 2 weeks. So, yeah, I did take the Titans. I like them in this game. Unfortunately, like we said, we don't want to see them kind of climb up the standings, but, it is what it is. It's going to happen. They got to play the Jets. We get to play them twice, so it's a win for us.
100%. Chiefs-Eagles. This one is going to be the most fun game of the week, and it's stuck in the 1 o'clock hour where I get Jets and Giants here on Long Island. So fuck you, NFL. I would love to watch out-of-town games, but I'm not allowed to, apparently. But still going to be a great game. I think that the Chiefs will come out on top. I like the Eagles to cover the 6.5 point spread, but I do think that it's going to be a win for this is going to be their Washington football team game like the Bills had. It's their get-right game. They're going to come out angry. They're going to win, but that defense is terrible. They're not the clear front runner for the AFC like they once were.
Yeah, I mean, let's call it what it is. They're struggling. Their defense is, if we're talking about KC specifically, their defense is horrible. It's in trouble. Like, it's reminiscent of some of the good teams that have had really bad defenses in the past here. They need to correct it quickly. I don't know if they're going to be able to get it done. Like, Josh Gordon's going to play cornerback or something, but I would have been after Richard Sherman like Tampa was if you really had to make moves here this desperate. The defense is bad. The Bills have the leg up with having a top 3 or 4 defense in pretty much every category across the board. That's what you want to see going into the stretch run, because that will travel with weather. That will travel as you play good teams. Offense, you've seen from Allen, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But you see sometimes, like in Pittsburgh, things happen. Like, defenses have good schemes. They get paid a lot of money to play defense. And offenses don't always travel, don't always play to the best of their ability. I was told that once by a college coach. Now, when you're looking at the defensive side of the ball, KC can't get it done. Like, they're not getting it done. The worst defense in the league. That's too much to overcome. Can you be in the middle of the pack? Yeah, absolutely. But one of the worst defenses in the league, you got to spend some extra time here, guys, saying this is a really intriguing matchup as the Bills go into their next week on Sunday Night Football. So
that's going to be a great game.
I have KC winning. I don't think Philly's very good to kind of go down the road, but I don't feel great about them covering.
No. Colin, how do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I'm with you, Wake. I think KC wins. I think Philly can cover. It's 6.5. The offense for Kansas City, we all know is electric, but like you guys have been talking about, the defense is just nothing. And, you got a young, hopefully promising quarterback in Philly and Jalen Hurts. He might be able to get some points on the board against that offense. They've played Lamar Jackson, who's a running quarterback. Jalen Hurts is very good with his feet. So it will be an interesting game to pay attention to. But, my friend said it to me earlier. He said if KC loses this week, it's going to be kind of scary going in there next week. Even though they'd be on a 3-game skid, but going into Kansas City and the 3-game losing streak, probably in the biggest game of the year already for both of us. I mean, we'd be 3-1, they'd be 1-3. So it wouldn't be a good look for them. But like, next week is, no matter what happens today, next week is a critical game and going down the stretch, especially if we can knock off the Chiefs and the Chargers keep playing well. Like, they might not even get their division.
Yeah, even the Broncos. I mean, the Broncos are banged up right now, and we'll get to them and the Ravens in a little bit. But
could you imagine a chance to bury them at 1-4? Could you?
I was gonna say, if let's say the Chiefs lose today and we go in there 3-1 and they're 1-3, is that game for the 1 seed?
Yeah,
essentially, I think
it's too many games. It's too many games.
It's too many
because
games.
We only have, like, looking down our schedule, we have the easiest schedule in the league remaining. We play Tampa Bay is probably our biggest our biggest threat. And then if you wanted to say Tennessee the following week after Kansas City, then that's true. So even if we beat the Chiefs, but we lose to Tennessee and Tampa Bay, like where other games are we looking at projecting to lose? So that's only 3 games we lose. Kansas City's already at 4 losses. So we already are a game ahead of them. Like it seems like the 1 seed is it all goes into next week. And I know we're talking about it and we don't want today to be a trap game. But like if we win today, we win next week. It's going to feel like we have the 1 seed already locked up, and we're only through 5 weeks of the NFL.
If you're 4-1 and they're 1-4 with the breaker, you have the breaker on your side.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
have it. Like outside of Josh Allen getting hurt, I mean that's obviously in the realm of possibilities. I guess like anything could happen. But on a face value, through 5 weeks, there's not that much time to make that up with good teams. There is obviously if we're talking about a terrible division or something. But with good teams, you're not going to expect the Bills to lose 4 games because they have the breaker on the Chiefs. You can't expect the Bills to lose 4 games. You can expect them to lose 1 or 2 for sure. Maybe 3. Even then, the breaker, and then that's you going 11-0. Like I don't see it. Like I don't see it. I think that could be a case where I want the Bills to go in 3-1, 1-3 with the chance to bury them. There'd be nothing more talked about in the NFL than that. They're desperate anyways. Regardless of what their record is next week, in my opinion, you can't go in 500 either. So. To me, they're desperate next week. You got to bury them, whether they're 3-1, 4-0. Then you can say, well, they're going for a perfect record. There's always something you can say. Regardless.
There's always one. And after next week, if we do beat the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, then it becomes Bills, Browns, and Ravens for the 1 seed in the AFC. And that could honestly, the Ravens and Browns have both looked vulnerable but also unstoppable at times. So it's going to be an interesting stretch down the NFL for the 1 seed, especially if Kansas City starts 2-3 or 1-4. But getting through the rest of the action for week 4 kind of quickly here. Cowboys Panthers, I'll keep it quick. They just announced Christian McCaffrey's inactive. I would have taken the Panthers to cover if he was able to play. I will not do that anymore. Cowboys are going to win, and it's not going to be hard. Panthers lose their first win of the season.
I got nothing more to add. I agree.
Yeah, yep. Colin, beautiful.
That Cowboys offense is too good, and Sam Darnold can't do anything without McCaffrey. So
I got the over too, if that matters. So,
ooh, I actually have the under. Interesting.
Do you?
A little bit. Yeah, interesting. Giants Saints. This one definitely have the under, and this game is going to be ugly. Popular Survivor pick, possible trap game for Survivor people. I think that the Giants could pull this one out. I'm going to go as far as to say I'm going to pick the Giants to win this one outright. I wanted to ride Jameis as long as he would let me, but he doesn't look as great as I was hoping. It's a shame. That defense is great. That offense is kind of still trying to find its identity 4 weeks into the season. Yeah, Daniel Jones isn't good either, but those Giants are angry. So I'm going to pick them to get an angry road win down in New Orleans.
That money line's minus 360. Vegas isn't going to be losing any money on this game. I just personally have it's already risen to minus 380 actually.
Wow.
I just don't think the way that there's a Giants win this on the money line. There's no I don't see it. Vegas would be pretty shocked. I do have a chance for them to cover. I have the Giants covering. The over's at 41, which is I like, and I got the Saints winning on the money line.
What's the spread on this one?
Then minus
7.5.
7.5. Okay.
Ooh. Yeah, I think if I were to have to take it, I think the Giants could cover that. Like, I think it's not going to be a great game. Jameis, the funny thing is, in my one fantasy league, I had Jameis. I got screwed in the 12-man league. I waited to take a quarterback, and by the time I was like, oh, shoot, I still need one. Everyone already had 2, so I'm like, I'll take Jameis, whatever. I took some heat for it. He went off week 1. I'm like, yeah, suck it. And then the next week, he hasn't been good. So I dropped him. And then this week I picked him up again, playing the Giants. I think he's good to maybe get a couple dump offs to Kamara, let him run. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, I think the Giants could cover. If it's 7.5, that's a whole touchdown and more. So, I mean, if it's going to be a close game, I'd like the Giants to cover there.
All right, then moving forward, we got Browns-Vikings. This could be a sneaky fun game. This is a game I kind of wish was getting broadcast.
Heck yeah, baby.
It's going to be a fun. The Vikings got some key injuries here. I mean, 2 strong defenses, but both offenses are very capable of putting up points. Over-under was around like 51, I think, 50.5, somewhere around there. I do think I like the over. And I've been struggling, but I think just because of the injuries on the Vikings side of the football, I think I like the Browns to take it. But this is going to be a good one. I think this is a game that could be honestly neck and neck scoring the entire time, possible overtime, 24-24 heading into it. This is going to be a very good football game. I wish I was a Vikings or Browns fan for this week and this week alone.
Go Vikings! I mean, it's big. We were just talking about KC. Just talking about KC for a good chunk of change, and this goes into the formula a little bit. They were able to upset Seattle. I think that team's better than maybe they played a little bit. They have some great receivers, guys. I mean, that offense is good. I mean, it's good. It's a good offense. It legitimately, and then you got a UB player there too. It's legitimately a decent offense. I gotta like it. I got locked in at 2.5 points for the Vikings before the spread moved. Lots of money coming in on Minnesota. I'm going with the Vikings in this game. I think that they get it done. I think that offense is good enough to really cause some problems. And lots of points being scored in the running game too. Both good running teams. I got the over. So, I mean, I think the Vikings get it done. Definitely get it done with the points. I'm a little more 50-50, even though that 2.5 to me is big. It gives me a little bit of wiggle room, but I got the Vikings on the money line, getting some money there. I got the Vikings with the point, and I got the over. That's what I want to happen, and I think that offense gets it done. Clicking now with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen.
Colin?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree. We talked about the Chiefs. We don't want them to keep winning. We don't want them to win at all. We don't want the Browns to win. But my head is telling me to take the Browns on the -1 there. I think it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a shootout. And not even the terms of throwing the ball. Baker's not going to throw for 400 yards. Cousins could throw for 400 yards. You never know with him.
Kirk looks okay. He looks good. It's weird.
So, but there's going to be points up. The running game, Dalvin Cook is expected to play today. He's back. And it was kind of shocking to see them take down Seattle last week without Cook. But that offense is very good if Cook plays, two great wide receivers. KJ Osborne, I did pick him up a couple weeks ago, stock him on my fantasy bench.
UB guy.
Does. But, I think it's going to be a good game. I do think the Browns win. Don't want to see it happen. So, I mean, if I lose $10 because they're on my parlay, then screw it. They drop in the standings. I'm fine with that.
There you go. Now moving into some NFC North action. Lions, Bears. I think I like the Lions to come away with this one. I mean, they're very competitive under Campbell right now, and I said on Fantasy Fallout last week with Joe DiBiase on TWS Fantasy that I would go back and watch the Bears game because I was nervous about, do I want to use Justin Fields for fantasy? Just as a developmental quarterback, I'm interested. I was really high on him in the draft process. They literally ran Andy Dalton's offense last week with him, and I think it was Matt Nagy just proving a point saying that Justin Fields isn't ready by making him fit into the wrong kind of offense. They had 1 passing yard last week when you take away the 9 sacks for 67 yards. I mean, it's not good. It's not good. And that Bears defense is not as good as it once was either, despite the brand names they have on that side of the ball. I think I like the Lions as underdogs to come away with it, honestly.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
You like the Lions, huh? You just think that you think they got enough to get it done? That's fine. I picked the Lions too. So
they got grit. They got moxie. I love it.
It was a loaded question. We won't spend too much time on bad NFC games, but I got the Lions here. And I do like them enough as I finish my freshly made homemade donut from the apple picking place here by my house. Quality donuts here. Shout out to Rob Farms for sure.
Ooh. What kind of donut? I got regular glazed apple cider donuts. No, let's break down the
cinnamon. Apple cinnamon.
Oh, that's good.
Good donut.
Oh my god, great donut. All right, Cullen, donut of choice, and how do you like this game?
Donut of choice, probably either a Boston cream or an apple fritter. Those are my two go-tos. But keep it short, keep it simple. Lions, I got them to cover. I got them to win outright. I think.
Love that.
They said Fields is going to be the starter this week. And Nagy's kind of just like, what am I doing here? So I think the Lions, they're going to be pissed off that they lost them a 66-yard field goal last week. They come out firing, and that's kind of hard to say when they have Jared Goff at QB, but it's going to happen.
Yep. Colts, Dolphins. Carson Wentz has lost 7 straight starts. It's the longest streak of his career. I think it continues today. If Quentin Nelson was active, I would have picked the Colts to win. It's weird that one offensive lineman can make me think that the Colts are going to lose, but honestly, that's a football team that's really struggling to find its identity on offense, and they're missing people on defense too. The coaching has been weird. They've been making weird decisions, and it's not like they have a good opponent in the Dolphins, but I mean, one team clearly has a lot more to play for, and the Colts are not helping my division winners parlay at all with this start to the season, but they're going to go 0-4, so that sucks for me. Kevin?
Well, that sucks for you for sure. I like the Colts getting 1.5.
Yeah, make me feel better.
It.
Thank you.
I'm feeling it a little bit. I mean, I think the Dolphins stink. They can't move the football. Like
they do stink.
The defense shows up. It's going to be a low-scoring game. I don't know how you play the over in this game. I mean, I guess it's conceivable, but I don't think they get over 42.5 points in this.
No,
I got
Creek Degenerate said that's the lock of the week.
Yeah, under. Yeah, it's
under. Yeah,
I got the Colts burying the Dolphins, furthering the Bills' division hopes, furthering this number 1 seed discussion that we've been having on this show. I just don't think I mean, you don't win with Jacoby Brissett. I'm sorry. Like, I just don't see it. I'm not saying anything about Tua on the show yet. I had to talk a minute about this game because I think the Colts get it done here. I think you see them do enough in this game to score a win, get off the schneid and get it done. I got the Colts.
Fun timing. Matt Weston just tweeted Davis Mills is better than Carson Wentz. So that's really, really funny timing that we're talking about that now. Colin, Colts Dolphins.
This is a tricky one. I mean,
it is, isn't it?
Both teams aren't that great, and they're kind of below expectations. We not saying we expected the Dolphins to be great, but like after last season, one game off of being a playoff team, and now this year, not doing that great. Obviously, that Bills game was not a good look for them. Anybody thinking about a Jacoby Brissett revenge game going against his old team?
Okay, yeah, Dolphins by a million.
I don't know. I want to pick the Dolphins. I think they have better weapons, but anything can happen. The Bills had a good running game against the Dolphins. I mean, it wasn't great, and the Colts have a much better backfield than the Bills do. So I'm going to take the Colts here. I'll take them to win outright.
Wow. All right.
Even with the revenge factor in there.
Incredible. Football team against the Falcons. I have to go back and change my pick because I meant to take Washington win. I think it could be one of those like bad team fun games. I just think Washington has a better offense. Both defenses stink. That's it.
Yeah, there's bad NFC games, not specifically for our show. I mean, I guess I got the football team, but I don't feel particularly good about it.
Mm-hmm. I'll take the football team as well.
All right. Seahawks 49ers, better NFC game. Still not much for our show, though. I'm taking the 49ers. The Seahawks defense stinks. Pete Carroll's a terrible head coach, and no one's ready for that conversation. Niners continue to bury the Seahawks at the bottom of that division.
Yep, I got the Niners in this one at home. In Seattle, could have changed my mind a little bit, but I'll take it. I'll take the 2.5. It was 3.5. I might think about the spread, but I'll take it at 2.5. I think it's close though, so I got the 49ers.
Yeah, I also got the 49ers. It'll be a good game, and then the other game we're going to talk about in that division is Cardinals Rams.
That's the next one.
Probably the best division in football. So I mean, it's a huge game, huge week for all four of those teams. But I'll take the Niners 2.5 as well.
Yeah, and then for the other one, I'm taking the Rams. I just they're the more established team. That Cardinals defense, I'm still not convinced it's good. Chandler Jones, I don't think has had a single sack since his 5-sack performance in Week 1. So going with the Rams, I think they could win by 2 touchdowns today.
Oh, that's an interesting one because of the over/under is pretty high.
What is
it?
Like
54.
54, yeah.
Wow.
I got under. I don't feel great about the under on this one, but I'm going to go with it. That's a lot of points, and it just takes a couple of good, like a defensive quarter to really not hit that. So
it takes a few amazing Jalen Ramsey pass breakups to make the under hit.
I mean,
and
not much. Yeah. I mean, that's not a ton. You're not looking for a ton there. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I got the Rams, but I have the Cardinals locked in at 4.5, and I'm feeling good about it. I like those points. I think it's close all day, and I think they win by 4. So I'm taking the points. I'm going Rams. I'm going 4.5 on the Cardinals. And I'm gotten the under on this.
Colin?
Yeah. I was too scared to take a hike into this game just because I don't know if the Rams are gonna. I'm looking at it now. When I was looking yesterday, it was at 3.5, and I don't know if they can win by that much. Like I think it's going to be a really good game. The over is kind of high. And I mean, even the Seahawks-Niners game, the over and under is at 52, which is, I mean, good offenses, decent defenses, but the Rams, one of the best defenses in the league, if not the best. So we'll see. I do have a question. Wake, you're the fantasy guy here.
Yeah.
Do I shy away from D-Hop? Like, I don't know what to do with him.
No,
like,
you do not bench D-Hop.
He's my second-round pick. I have to take him. Like, I feel like I have to play him because of that. But
he and Jalen Ramsey are two of the highest graded players at their position. It's going to be a good battle between the two. You can't bench D-Hop. You can't do it.
But I saw was it you that tweeted out like Ramsey's going to be so great against him? So that's like, I don't know.
No, I don't think that was me.
Oh, I saw something that
I think that was
brought up that okay.
Yeah, that was definitely Steve. It was the Rams fan. It was the Rams.
Okay. Makes sense.
Hot off the press over here. Wow. Hot off the press.
Nah, I was wrong about when I tweeted when I drafted Noah Fant, but I know that was not me.
I'm feeling good about Noah Fant right now.
Yeah,
let's keep it going.
We'll keep it going here with Packers Steelers. The Packers only being favored by 6.5 is a joke. Packers win. It's not close.
Yeah, it's nothing to talk about here. We just buried the Steelers here. That's easy.
Ravens, Broncos. Ravens are not as banged up as the Broncos. The Broncos have faced the three worst teams in the NFL and are 3-0. Ravens
and they're getting a half of a point.
Yeah, they're home. That's
which doesn't mean anything. Which just means like if they tie. But
so for us, do we want the Broncos to win?
Yeah,
like, because that gives them another game ahead of the Chiefs.
Probably, but at some point you need to stack those Broncos losses. But I looked at the stretch, but I think there's a stretch they lose like 3 or 4 games. But I mean, at some point you got to take them more seriously. So I look at it both ways. Like I like to knock down teams when they think they're really hot. But yeah, I mean, long term it probably is better for the Broncos to win this. I mean, but I got the Ravens. I got the Ravens getting a half of a point, and I don't know how you play the over on this, but you can feeling good.
If you're feeling real frisky, yeah.
I did take the Broncos. I'm not sure how to feel about this Ravens team. I really am not. I don't think they're as good as people think they are. And I think that Broncos defense is really good. And if Lamar couldn't do a ton against the Lions defense, what's he going to do against the Broncos?
I will say I love the under in this game. Love the under in this game. The 2 games left before we get to the Bills. Bucks, Patriots. I don't know why the NFL is trying so hard to make it look like this game's going to be good.
Yeah.
It's going to be a blowout. The Bucks being I have a conspiracy theory that the NFL is forcing Vegas to keep the line around 7 so that people think the game can be closer than it will be. Because this game, the Bucks really could be double-digit favorites on the road. The
only thing hard to pick in this game is the over/under. Like it's a tough one at 49. I could go either way on it, but guys, we talked about not talking about bad NFC games. Here's one right here. I got nothing to say. Tampa Bay rolls them. They're not New England's
not even competitive.
Like there's no way this game's even close. Also the same. Like this isn't close. No. Like this isn't close. They beat the Jets, right? Isn't that their only win? Like it's not.
Mac Jones has the only win of any starting rookie quarterback right now.
6.5 is laughable. It should be up near the Bills spread. Like this is a joke. Like there's no way they cover 6.5 is perfect because even in bad case they cover the 7. Like it's New England's done. I think they're both going to be 1-3 and the Jets are going to be 0-4. Like the Bills are going to be sitting pretty after this week. They don't get it done here. Like the Bills are going to have a commanding lead in the division. Period. Like, this isn't a game. Shouldn't even.
Yeah, I got Bucks at least. I wish it was like -21. I would still hammer it. I think Brady's going to go off. It's going to be a blowout. I'll be able to hopefully get to bed by halftime and have no worries about the Patriots coming back.
And tomorrow night's game, Raiders-Chargers. This is a good Monday night football game. Division implications, 2 good teams, honestly. The Raiders are much better. I don't think that they're frauds. I think that they're fraud-esque, but I don't think they are frauds. But I do think the Chargers win, make the top of that division just a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, like this is an interesting game, I guess. Like you could go either way with like what you think about either of these 2 teams, and I guess it matters for we'll spend a second on this one because I guess it matters, right? I mean, these are 2 probably the way the AFC is shaping out. They're probably 2 of the wild card teams, like most likely. So yeah, we got to care about it. This could be a very likely first round matchup for the Bills, one of these 2 teams. And I got the Chargers winning. I think the Raiders, they continue to shock me though. It's kind of like that Denver thing where like, it's at some point you have to take them more and more seriously. But they struggled against the Dolphins. We know that team's not very good. The Bills 35-0 to them. I'm going to go Chargers. They're riding high. They're at home. Don't really have much of a fan base, so that shouldn't play a role in it. But I do have the over in this. It is one game I think they'll go over 51. The teams can score.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Cullen?
Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers as well. I think the Raiders are more like that team that Kevin said about the Broncos that, they win 3 straight, and it's super easy to see them losing 3 in a row just like that. So I don't know how much I trust Gruden, although I don't know how I trust the Chargers, like new head coach. But, I'll take them on the points, -3. I think they could win by a touchdown. I think it's going to be a really good game, really good shootout, good Monday Night Football game. But I'll take the Chargers there.
And finally, the game everybody's waiting for. Bills-Texans. This game won't be close. I've never said it should be close. I'm taking the Bills to win 42-3. The Texans may not even score a point. This could be the Bills' second shutout win of the year, to be completely honest with you. There's just nothing inspiring about the Texans offense. There's even less inspiring outside of Justin Reed, the safety that Matt Weston pointed out is, the only possible Pro Bowler on the roster. Yeah, it's easily their best player. It's Buffalo 42, Houston 3 for me. Kevin, what's your score prediction for this gloomy day?
We do have breaking news of the first team offensive line, which probably none of us have here. So this breaking news for the show. I don't think any of us would have had this as our offensive line going into the game. We got Daryl Dawkins and Ike Butker, and Mitch Morris, pretty much what we might have guessed. But you're going Darrell Williams at right guard and Spencer Brown's getting to start at right tackle.
Wow. Let's
go. That is the Bills offensive line. Cody Ford, one of the biggest busts underneath Brandon Beane. And I've said it on the show many times. He was horrible last week, even in a blowout. Guy is not a good offensive lineman. I'm sorry. I got to give him shade when that's deserved. But Cody Ford is not a good offensive lineman. Fine for a depth player. Fine in a spot starts. Fine if you need him to play. You don't want to rely on him. And the offensive line's bad when he's in. He's not good. I'm sorry. I got to say it. Third offensive line position that he struggled at. He is done in this league, in my opinion. He's going to go the way of John Miller. So we'll see him on the Bengals in a couple of years. But back to the game plan. And specifically, I like that they made the move in a game where you didn't really need to make the move, to be honest. You didn't need to do that today. But I like that they're trying it to see what Spencer Brown has. You sunk a third-round pick into him when I didn't think you needed to. But if he starts and he's good and he's a good right tackle, the Bills got value back for where they struggled and missed that forward pick. Don't triple down on it. Make the right move when you need to make the move. And let's see what Brown has to offer because Ford hasn't been offering anything. Darrell Williams at right guard is interesting. Shows me he struggled at right tackle too because you wouldn't move a guy that just got paid from their position. So the Bills clearly have had some thoughts about the right side of their offensive line here today. And they're going to address it early. This is a game where you can address it. So that's very interesting to see that. And I'd argue that I like Ike Butker. I thought the offensive line played better on the stretch last year with Ike Butker. So we're going to see if this offensive line plays good today in a game where they can play good, it's very possible you see this offensive line going forward or not much variation from it. So this is going to be an interesting day up front. And you know that Josh Allen had some input in this because he ain't having his offensive line change with all this continuity randomly in week 4. That's not happening without his input, guys. So you don't think their franchise quarterback sitting here saying, you do not, you don't move, whatever, I don't want to take Cody Ford out of my lineup. He's probably the one saying, yeah, I need better interior protection straight up. I need to step into my throws. He's affecting my numbers. He's got to go. There's no way this move doesn't get made without the sign-off approval from Josh Allen, your franchise quarterback. And to me, that's an important note that he probably was just as likely to say, I like what Darryl might be able to do on the inside, even though he struggled in his year in guard. Very interesting moves here today for the Bills. Does that mean that Spencer Brown takes a right tackle position? Feliciano comes and takes the job from Williams? Does that mean Spencer Brown comes out, Feliciano comes in? There's a lot to say here going forward. The Bills are not happy with their offensive line play already. Really only Mitch Morris, and obviously Dean Dawkins had a brutal game against Pittsburgh, but I think has rebounded. Really outside of that, and maybe Ike Butker, the Bills don't like a lot else of what's going on at that position group. Interesting to see in a day where they didn't need to do anything. So that needed to be noted here on the show, live on the show with that breaking news. But
of course,
I just don't think Houston has enough to get it done. We talked about ways they can keep it to single digits. It is conceivable. If this offensive line that they put out there is awful, there's your other reasoning. That it's possible if Brown struggles, if Butker's bad, if Darrell Williams can't get it done from the guard position. There's reasonings to believe it could be single digits, but it's not going to be. I got the Bills in this one in a blowout. I got them 38-10 only because they're just going to stop scoring. And Houston's game plan is against the Bills, on the road, is going to be to take time off the clock. So they could go the whole field and kick a field goal and probably try to take 10 minutes off the clock. It is conceivable for them to try to do the best that they can to get as many 4-yard plays as possible. And I do think you'll see a chunk of this game where they limit the amount of time the Bills offense has it. So that's why I'm keeping them in the upper 30s.
Interesting. Cullen, last prediction here. Give it to us, and then we'll get out of here.
I'm going to go right in the middle of you two. Wake, you had 42-3. Kevin, you had 38-10. I'm going to go 41-9 in favor of the Bills. I'm picking that. Those are my squares for the week. I got Bills 1, Texans 9. So I'm hoping 41-9. We
all got covering though. That's good.
Yeah,
right.
They're going to cover.
I am
17
scared.
and a half ducks.
I'm not betting it. Very scared to bet it because my luck is not going to hit. But I'm
17 and a half duckies. That's like one. That's like one pick.
I teased it down 6.5 points to 11. I did that. I'll tell you that much.
But I do.
Now 18 and a half, guys. It's risen to 18 and a half. That's a lot of points. That's just like one thing going wrong that doesn't have you hit 18 and a half.
Yeah.
Or one backdoor, like fourth quarter, like backups in. Like that can really, like that's a high. Vegas really thinks 18 and a half got to be one of the highest ever, at least in Bills. Obviously in the Bills.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going on the action network right
points.
now to see exactly how much money is on.
Guys, that's like the game should start 19-0 Houston before kickoff. It should be right now on the scoreboard. It should say 19-0 because that's what they feel this game. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's like hard to really even fathom that your team's that good where you kick it off and it's 19-0 Houston and you're like, yeah, no, we're still winning.
Yeah, and even if that was the case, 41-19, my square still hits. Yeah. We're all good. But Blake, while you're doing that, I do have a question for you. Another fantasy question, just real quick. I'm playing Stevia this week. I got Brandin Cooks. I saw what Trey White did in McLaurin last week.
Yeah,
and I'm scared that's going to be the case again with Cooks. But I feel like I have to play him just because he's getting every single one of their targets. He's got 23 catches. The next guy is 6, and it's Damian Doley.
The stat of the day from the Cap on Wednesday was that Brandin Cooks has like 37.6% of all targets in the Houston offense. I mean, you just can't shy away from 40% volume. So
that's what I'm playing.
He'll catch at least 25% of his targets today.
Stevie, if you're watching, you're losing this week. I hate to break it to you. Man, he didn't even have a guy in his starting wide receiver spot until like 12:20 a.m. this morning. So we'll see. I'm coming for you, Stevie. Just letting you know.
Cullen's coming for Stevie, and the Bills are coming for Davis Mills and the Texans. That's going to do it for us here on the Crowd Assist podcast. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And just go Bills. Go Bills, everyone.